Students, what's the funniest thing that happened in remote learning? Professor started talking like he was giving a presentation. After like 10 minutes, someone finally pointed out he wasn't sharing his screen. At that point he just gave up for the day and let us go super early. Done that. Also talked with mic off. I've got lovely students who tell me these things though. Talking with my mic off seems to be my speciality. Thankfully my students are nice and tell me. One of my classmates went the entire CL but with a stormtrooper helmet on. My son wore a Halloween costume to a Zoom meeting. He was in 2nd grade last year. When my son is struggling to stay on CL but with his camera on, we get out his flash mask. It's kindergarten. You want to wear a flash mask? Go ahead, just pretend like you're paying attention. Not a student but teacher. I completely embarrassed myself by forgetting to end the recording after a Google Meet lesson. So the last 5 minutes of the session is me talking to my cat. Our school doesn't have the premium software to edit the recordings, so it had to go up on Google Classroom, cat chat and all. Kids were asking how fluffy but my cat is doing. Hilarious but mortified! Exclamation mark. You could download the video and edit it pretty easily, you know, for when it happens next. I thought the same, but as I work from a school provided laptop I don't have the administration rights to download video editing software. If you know any other tips, I'd be super grateful though. Fingers crossed I don't make the same mistake again. Our teacher's toddler wandered in saying that daddy wants to know where you hid his underwear. We could not stop laughing. I think it turned out she hadn't hidden it and it was just in the wash. All one pairs? To be honest, it really seems like my hubs only has one pair of chones. He's always looking for a clean pair. My mom teaches high school seniors in a rural area. One kid showed up late, and when she said, "Insert name. Do you have a good excuse?" he replied, "Yes, miss. Party Shark Senior, comma. I was training my show pig. Apostrophe." They spent the rest of CL but with this student talking about what makes a show pig, showing the CL but this pig's tricks. At least it wasn't a show chicken or attack rooster. One time a girl in my English CL but accidentally spent a solid 10 minutes talking to her boyfriend with her mic and camera on. She went into personal life details at points but no one wanted to be the one to tell her. She eventually took out a bang, which was when another student quickly said up, "Name. Your camera and mic are on." She turned both off without a word. Easily most awkward case of forgetting about the mic. Did the teacher ever see her take out the bang? Lorry. Professor's internet crashed. The CL but continued with one guy changing his Zoom background to a weather report of some random city. He proceeded to give a legit sounding news report of the weather. When the professor came back, he finished it off with "Back to you, Professor." Had me in tears. My professor turned on closed captions, and when he finally figured out what it was he was like, "What type of communist Nintendo technology is this? Mario is red." I think that professor was watching too much Game Theory. A couple weeks ago I'd lost track of time and didn't realize that Zoom had started. My lovely daughter turned the camera toward me and unmuted herself as the whole CL but watched me dance with and sing to my dogs. I didn't know until she pulled off her headphones and I heard a dozen kids laughing. Last semester, my son CL but saw my husband set the kitchen on fire. Teachers hate my house. Lol. Just now my literature teacher had to do a call with his little daughter all over him. He even lent her his phone to have her shush down, but she would block it and run to him to unblock it every 5 minutes. Peak of the CL but is a screaming bloody murder while his wife emerged from the door behind him as my teacher was trying to explain who invented the word robot. Wait. Who invented the word robot? I want Asimov's. I'm guessing Isaac Asimov. Asimov, as far as I could find, invented the spin-off of that word, robotic. But the word robot was invented by a Czech writer Karel Apek as a variation of the word robota, which in Czech means something like slavery. He used it in his play You are describing artificial people manufactured in a factory in 1920. Some guy I know took a crap with his mic on unknowingly. It was silent. Then just a little plop. I'm dying just thinking about it. One time our priest forgot to turn off his microphone and he went to pee during the passing of the peace. You could drop a pin and hear it waiting for him to wash his hands. This is why you should always wash your hands. Don't want to Frank Drebin it in front of the whole congregation and then forget to wash your hands. LPT. Kind of funny. My whole CL butt watched as our professor fell off his chair, stood up, and started screaming for his wife to call the ambulance. His arm was broken. I guess he was in shock or something, because then he continued with the lesson for another 45 minutes until paramedics had arrived, stabilized him, and were ready to take him to the hospital. He then told us to have a good day and that we would end today's lesson a bit earlier. Make sure you get him a really nice get well gift from your class, like a bottle of JD. Well, 2 instances that come to mind. 1. We had been having a rough week as a CL but with assignments and exams. One of my professor's kid came on near the microphone and said, "You okay? Really? Question mark. I love you all." It was a little thing, but it made all of us smile for sure. 2. This happened a couple of weeks before those exams. We weren't in the right headspace because back then Amazon wasn't delivering. So none of us had books as such, and it was difficult to manage assignments without them. One of our professors asked us to close whatever notebook we had in front of us and spent the next 2 hours of her CL bar talking about mental health of each one of us. More than half the people cried that day on that VC, but none of us felt weird or anything. OMG, so wholesome. I want this teacher. Probably when this kid in my CL but said she's licking his ass when we were watching the beginning of Land Before Time, where Littlefoot's mother licks him. He didn't know his mic was on. How old are you? You're watching the Land Before Time in CL but also using Reddit? Question mark. We have some new shit called advisory where we learn about stuff like equal rights, mental health, and that kind of stuff. I have no ducking clue why we are watching Land Before Time. Asked our teacher to come play Minecraft with us and actually came. We had a blast. Same here. He joined our class's server and that was fun. I had a 9 AM CL but and the professor was being so obnoxiously loud and a student didn't know their mic was on and called the professor annoying and said he was going to jerk off to pee but what did the professor say? Imagine. My friend accidentally turned his camera on. He was taking a walk with his phone in hand, wearing flower shorts and shirtless. It took around 40 seconds for him to notice it, and everyone lost their shit. I read that as taking a wank. A certain girl named Beth changed her clothes without shutting off the camera by accident. That is an actual nightmare. I'm so sorry. Someone just straight up typed the word porn in the chat with no context. I'm pretty sure he meant to type it into Google. Umfeo. The most embarrassing part 4. That dude is now everyone knows that his porn search consists of just googling porn. Like, come on man, what are you, 12 years old? I knew a guy in high school that was, for some reason, 100% convinced that porn would be wiped off the internet in the next 5 years. So he spent a lot of his time downloading and saving his favorite porn videos onto his terabyte hard drives. My teacher lets us draw on a presentation. One guy decides to try to doodle his interpretation of a penis. It wasn't until I went, "What the hell is that?" that the teacher choked on his coffee and went, "Guys, no fooling around with doodles, what is that?" The guy answered, "Ugh, it's a bicycle." My teacher responded, "Rigged, and that's totally where the wheels go." Had my friends and I cackling for a good minute. If only the reply had been, "Just because you can ride it doesn't make it a bicycle." Someone accidentally joined with a video camera and he was full on naked in front of the class. Teacher was a 60-year-old woman in health CL but and it was just full on awkward the entire CL but. Am I the only one who thinks that most of those situations aren't accidents? Yeah. Although on the other hand, you can't just assume that it's not an accident, because what if it was legitimately an accident? It's a bit of a weird situation. I'm sure there are many instances of this that are accidents, and also many instances of this that are not. I teach college students. Boyfriend of one of my students walked by naked in the background during lecture. I think he had just gotten out of the shower. A girl texted her boyfriend to please bring her charger. He decided that he didn't really want to get dressed, so he opened the door and army crawled to her in his boxers, not realizing that the floor was in full view of the camera. He gave her the charger and then army crawled right out. Weirdly enough, the CL just continued like nothing had happened while me and like 2 other people died laughing. This is hilarious. First day of online classes with a very respected professor. Of the 10 people participating, 5 had their camera on, and among these 5, I noticed my cat moving behind me and, out of nowhere, the teacher shouts, "The cat fell out of the bed!" Exclamation mark. At least it helped with breaking the ice. Thought this was really funny. A classmate's dog walked in and tackled her in the middle of CL mid-answer, and so we heard her fighting with her dog, while also explaining the composition of DNA and RNA. My kid's chemical teacher recently got a new puppy and it was being really fussy one day, so he picked it up and held it in his lap for almost the entire CL period so it wouldn't make whining noises. Kid said everyone was impressed with his ability to stay focused, give a lecture in his serious teacher voice while holding a cute puppy. When my teacher didn't understand something, so he let out some colorful language, realized his mic was on, laughed nervously, then went on like nothing happened. Daughter's a special ed preschool teacher on Zoom. It's as hilarious as it sounds. She discovered that when she loses internet, Zoom chooses a co-host if one isn't assigned, or 3 became co-host until she could get back online using a phone tether. Her aide is now the permanent co-host. Our art teacher's youngest daughter, he has 5 kids, all girls, was just sobbing in the background LOL, ng my butt off. My butt off why? Ut off why? Off why? Fy. My teacher wouldn't let her swim in the puddle she made on the ground. On the ground. The entire exchange was captured on mic. So everyone had a nice laugh out of it. Laugh out of it. GH out of it. Out of it. Love art. Such a chill CL but. Is this an art history class? Or do you just all have your cameras on your projects during class? Visual arts. We rarely turn on our cameras. Same with our art teacher. We use the chat or just a mic if we need to talk. I was taking a computer science CL but before COVID. The only time that worked for my schedule was a remote class. But the school had network issues. I regularly had to help the professor troubleshoot the problems. And it got to the point where I was physically going to the school to fix computer problems for the computer science professor. There were days when the CL but literally couldn't start until I went and got it started. D. The professor failed me because Blackboard wasn't correctly registering my homework as turned in. N. Even tough, I was able to P-bud tests with 100%. 0%. Fuck remote learning. NG. And duck New Mexican education. Hol up. You fixed all of the teacher's technical problems in a computer science class, and he fails you because of technical issues. Duck him. She. And yes. My professor forgot to turn off the mic and started chatting with her husband about how she doesn't give a duck if about the online classes. Honestly, those teachers are either the best or the worst. My algebra teacher has a cat who is very clingy and loves her a lot. So often she'll be doing a lesson and her cat will be sitting on the desk nearby. One time, my teacher was using highlighters on some notes and Bella, the cat, suddenly grabbed one. The CL but feared my teacher trying to grab the highlighters from the cat when suddenly Bella's face reappeared on camera with a highlighter smear across her nose. It was really cute. Highlight of my day. I'm stuck between two. A week ago I thought of a meme during our sex ed in health CL but and started laughing uncontrollably. I had to turn my camera off so nobody would see me laughing like an idiot while we are trying to learn how babies are made. And at the very beginning of remote learning on the first or second day of classes, the daughter of my social studies teacher turned on her camera and mic while she went to the bathroom. She told us that mama just made a big stinky. I know it's not important, but it's cool, right? I was also laughing like an idiot at that one. But what was the meme? It was that dumb meme of the guy falling through the ceiling and casually greeting someone else as if he hadn't just broken his spine. I've seen it over 100 times, and for some reason it made me laugh this time. Not necessarily funny, but a very interesting and wholesome story. One of our professors never opened the camera in online classes. She always shared screen and wrote/showed presentations through it while talking. We made a contest of who can draw the best guess of how she looks like, and people drew stupid stuff like that she is an alien, an octopus, or another one of our professors with a voice changing app. On the last lesson we had with her this semester she said, "So I heard, since you'll only know me through Zoom, that you are very interested in knowing how I look like." And then she opened her camera and said hello and even gave us a look of her little cute children. It was very fun and wholesome. Lol, this made me think of that episode of Love, Death and Robots. You're not ready to see what I look like? Apostrophe. We had a whole 10-minute conversation about bread, teacher, students, and assistants. Everyone had to have a favorite type of bread. Mine wasn't up to par with everyone. I like wheat bread. Wheat bread is good. Those kids made fun of me for wheat bread. I'm still reliving it every day. The ridicule, the heartache, the shame. Did I mention this was a theater class? That seems like a theater thing to do. Yeah, only a theater kid would find this funny. Thank you for watching. We hope you enjoyed this video. Please subscribe for more videos.